Hi, it's Linda Fox. I'm Senior Reporter for Phocuswire, and I'm here with Alexander Mirza, and he's co-founder and CEO of MogulRecruiter. Thanks for joining us, Alexander. So let's start with, you had quite a significant sum of funding about a year ago. Tell us what the single kind of most impactful thing you have done with that 20 million in funding so far.
Yes, I think our ability to bring on a team of data scientists who are global, because we have built our platform in 8 countries, and in particular in parallel in the US and China at the same time. And in the hospitality industry, although there are sort of similar standards for talent and levels in each country, there are very big cultural differences in how people are hired, how they progress up an organization, and so forth. And so our ability to have data scientists who understand markets such as China, UAE, as well as the US and others has been very helpful. And so we built a global team from the onset, and that's been very helpful.
Interesting that you talk about the cultural challenges of bringing on data scientists, but I mean, doesn't everybody want data scientists? Like you must be competing with Apple, Google, everybody wants data scientists.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think that one thing I've learned about in my career, which started mostly in big companies, I was on the senior operating team of Hilton and others, is that even people who are highly analytical in nature, or engineers, or architects for that matter, they do choose jobs based and companies based on the vision of the company and the values of the company.
Right.
And so I think we've been pretty good at communicating that and sharing that. And so we've attracted people who I think otherwise wouldn't join just another talent recruiting company.
Mm-hmm. So obviously there's some big recruitment companies out there, and some of them are specific to particular geographies, but how does a sort of specialist recruitment platform compete with those?
Yeah, well, the key word is specialist, right? The hotel industry is a peculiar industry, for example, and we developed about 100 categorical search variables that are very specific to our business that you can't easily deploy on other platforms. And that really makes the search for talent more accurate. And we've also developed a methodology to rank talent. And based on service scores and data that's now available that wasn't a few years ago widely, where we can really drill down to the department level or lower and see every 48 hours how a team or a particular leader is doing. Okay. And so I think these are things that generic platforms, are not built for.
So how do you, because obviously for your artificial intelligence driven platform, how do you get enough people onto the platform to make the AI valid?
Yeah, so I mean, when we started the platform, we partnered with an executive search firm who invested in our company. It wasn't the plan, but it worked out nicely, and we got about 80,000 people very quickly from that.
Okay, interesting.
From there onwards, we did what everyone else does and had organic campaigns and marketing. But now we're more into, I wouldn't say invitation only, but primarily invitation. So we go out and we rank talent, and then we approach them to join our platform.
And I remember talking to a colleague of yours earlier this year, and I think it was sort of general management and sort of executive level to initially, but then with a plan to progress, to develop further down the sort of recruitment funnel.
That's right.
Are you now doing that?
Yes, we've gone all the way to supervisor, not quite frontline at this point, but one level above that. So it's about 30 positions in a hotel. And we also go up to the regional level. And we've got quite a bit of interest now, especially because of the increased emphasis on diversity, to go up to the corporate levels, and we're doing that as well.
So I was going to touch on diversity. Obviously, diversity and inclusion, actually a huge issue now.
Yeah.
How do you then ensure that your algorithm isn't biasing?
Yeah, well, I was fortunate that earlier on in my career, I was on the admissions committee for Harvard Business School and some other schools at Harvard, and I really got to see how the Ivy League does it. Mm-hmm. And I think the key thing is to bring forth candidates who are high potential, there's evidence that they're high performing and qualified to be considered. And they may be a level below, they may be in another industry. But I think that we've removed the risk in approaching such clients and also put them in, or candidates, and put them in front of, the employers. So that's really part of the magic in what we do.
And is it coming on? Are you seeing it now coming onto the kind of the RFPs?
Yes, I do. I think that most employers are really looking for more diverse candidates, and they know, especially in the hotel industry, that it's not only going to come from within.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and do you think there's a real kind of desire now to actually make it happen, finally?
Well, we hope so.
Yeah. We can't hope for more, can we? So what would you say is your greatest challenge currently?
Yeah. Well, I think the greatest challenge is that, coming back from COVID with the scale of the problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah. Everybody needs people now.
Yeah. So we're talking about 70 million people who in the next 18 to 24 months are either going to come back to work or get hired in this business.
Yeah.
And so our platform needs to be global and do it quickly. You can't serve a market, for example, like the UAE, unless you're in Europe, unless you're in India, and you can, or parts of Asia, and you can source those candidates and have networks there. So, there are very few self-contained markets for talent. And, obviously this is the United States is a big one, but others don't have that luxury.
Does that mean more funding is on the cards?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Can I ask how soon?
Yeah. Probably beginning of next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, there is a school of thought that says recruitment companies, specialize obviously in humans. So shouldn't it be humans that choose other humans? Mm-hmm. What would you say to that?
I absolutely think it should be humans that choose other humans. I think a large part of the last decade has been automation and scale. And in our business, there have been so many mergers and acquisitions and consolidation, both in terms of brands and on the management side, that most HR directors have focused on implementing systems to create common databases and common process. But what I think that's done is that's really limited the talent pool. And there was a study by Harvard and Accenture that came out this last week that talked about how 1 out of 5 potential candidates are screened out by this big HR tech.
Right.
And so I think that we need to get back to humans being more involved in the process. Our tool just enables you to see different candidates than you might consider, and to create a meritocracy around data and analytics, where it's driven by facts, not opinion. I think the danger with it being purely human is all the bias creeps in, and it becomes a social thing as well, and popularity and all that.
Yeah,
and so I think the combination of both is really important and relevant, especially in hospitality.
So would you say then that your platform is more about the sort of making the process more efficient as opposed to something else?
I think about half of it is making it more efficient. I think that's really important. For example, we have no marketing, no social media, and it's private. And so by not being a public job board and employers really initiating search and getting a direct match, we cut out a lot of steps in the process. So I think that's a really big part of it. But the other part of it is just opening the funnel and thinking more broadly about talent.
Okay. Now, you mentioned funding probably come turn of the year. What would your other kind of priorities be for the next kind of 6 months to a year?
Yeah, I think because we're scaling in the US and China, and the technology world has evolved so much in China in the last year or year and a half, we really need to build out a full, proper infrastructure in China. And beyond WeChat integration, but also being able to scale across different industries and different databases in China. In my last role, I founded a hotel brand in China, scaled it across that market, which was a phenomenal and unique experience. And in that process, I saw talent coming from different places than they do here. We had a lot of GMs coming from healthcare, for example, or retail. And so it's a whole different kind of engine for talent. And so we really need to invest considerable amounts of time and capital to build that out and scale it.
And you kind of confident you're going to be able to do it all in time?
I am. I think that the good thing is that many of the brands growing in China are the ones we're working with here.
Okay.
And so there is a commonality to that and some scale in the learning and the application.
Okay. Alexander, we have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio.
Great. Thank you.